Tonight, I'm going to reveal 3 hidden consequences of a habit that's silently destroying masculine vitality in men over 60. And if you're experiencing even one of these symptoms, your body is sending you a desperate warning signal that most doctors completely miss. This isn't about expensive treatments or complicated procedures. This is about understanding how a private habit you've had for decades might be the real reason behind problems you never saw coming. You might have been told that declining sexual health, chronic fatigue, or loss of drive is just normal aging, but what I've discovered in my practice tells a completely different story. I see the same pattern over and over: successful men who've managed their health, stayed active, and done everything right, suddenly facing intimate challenges that shake their confidence to the core. I'm Dr. Eva Hart, a certified urologist with 14 years of experience helping men over 60 reclaim their masculine strength. In my years of practice, I've worked with hundreds of men who came to me feeling broken, ashamed, and convinced their best years were behind them. But here's what I've learned. The techniques that worked in your 30s and 40s can actually work against you after 60. This isn't your fault. Nobody ever explained how aging changes your body's response to sexual stimulation, or why the approach that seemed natural for decades might now be causing more harm than good. We live in a culture that treats male sexuality as something that should never change, never slow down, never require adjustment. That's not just unrealistic, it's damaging. In this video, I'll walk you through 3 critical consequences of incorrect masturbation that typically emerge after 60. This isn't just about physical mechanics. This is about reclaiming your identity as a man, restoring confidence that may have been shaken, and understanding that your body still has incredible capacity for healing and renewal, even when it feels like time is working against you. Stay with me until the end, because I'll share a simple protocol that can reverse these effects naturally, without medications or invasive procedures. Your masculinity can be restored. You just need to understand what your body needs now. But first, let me explain why something that feels so natural might actually be working against the very thing you're trying to maintain. Here's something that's quietly undermining masculine strength after 60: progressive damage to the delicate circulation system in your pelvic region. Most men don't realize that after 60, your cardiovascular system operates under completely different rules than it did in your younger years. When you masturbate with the same intensity and speed you used decades ago, you're essentially forcing your aging circulatory system to perform at levels it's no longer equipped to handle. Think of it like running your car engine in the red zone every time you drive. Eventually, something's going to break down. Your blood vessels naturally become less elastic with age. The smooth muscle that lines your arteries starts to stiffen, and your heart doesn't pump with the same efficiency it once did. When you apply excessive pressure or speed during masturbation, you create sudden pressure changes that these aging vessels struggle to accommodate. I've seen this pattern countless times in my practice. Men come to me complaining that their erections aren't as firm as they used to be, or that it takes longer to achieve arousal. They assume it's just aging, but when we examine their habits, a clear picture emerges. The problem isn't just the immediate pressure you apply. It's the cumulative effect over time. Each time you grip too tightly or move too aggressively, you create microscopic tears in the delicate blood vessels. In your 30s and 40s, these healed quickly. But after 60, your body's repair mechanisms work more slowly, and damage accumulates faster than it can be fixed. Research from Harvard Medical School has documented how improper technique during masturbation can lead to what they call vascular dysfunction. Essentially, your blood vessels lose their ability to expand and contract properly. This doesn't just affect your sexual function, it impacts circulation throughout your entire pelvic region. One patient described it perfectly. "It's like my body just stopped responding the way it always had. I thought I was broken." But he wasn't broken. His circulation system was just overwhelmed by techniques that no longer matched his body's capabilities. The solution isn't to stop masturbating. That's neither realistic nor necessary. The answer is adapting your technique to work with your body's current needs rather than against them. Scientific studies show that gentle, rhythmic stimulation actually strengthens vascular function over time, while aggressive techniques weaken it. Here's what works: slow, controlled movements with minimal pressure. Think of it as training for endurance rather than sprinting to the finish line. Your blood vessels need time to expand and contract naturally, and forcing the process disrupts their normal function. Start by reducing your speed by at least half and your grip pressure by even more. It might feel frustrating at first, you're used to a certain intensity, but give your circulatory system time to adjust. Within just a few weeks, you'll notice that blood flow improves not just during sexual activity but throughout the day. The goal is to create positive pressure waves rather than destructive ones. Gentle, consistent stimulation encourages healthy blood flow patterns, while aggressive technique creates turbulence that damages vessel walls over time. Many men tell me they're surprised by how much more sensation they experience with gentler techniques. That's because damaged circulation creates numbness. When you restore healthy blood flow, sensitivity returns naturally. But here's something most men don't consider. The circulation damage from incorrect masturbation doesn't stay localized. Poor blood flow in your pelvic region affects your overall energy levels, your ability to exercise effectively, and even your mental clarity. Everything is connected. If you're reading this and thinking, I had no idea my technique could be causing circulation problems, you're not alone. This information isn't taught anywhere, but it's crucial for maintaining masculine vitality after 60. The good news is that blood vessels are remarkably resilient. With proper technique, they can heal and even strengthen over time. I've seen men in their 70s restore circulation patterns they hadn't experienced in years, simply by adjusting their approach to match their body's current needs. But circulation is just the beginning. The second consequence affects something even more fundamental to who you are as a man, and most guys have no idea it's happening. I've noticed something alarming among my patients over 60, an epidemic of what I call neurological burnout that's directly connected to sexual habits, but almost no one makes the connection. Men come to me complaining of brain fog, lack of motivation, and a general sense that life has lost its spark. They've been to multiple doctors, tried various supplements, but nothing seems to help because they're treating symptoms instead of the root cause. Your nervous system after 60 operates under completely different metabolic constraints than it did when you were younger. Every orgasm triggers a massive release of neurochemicals, dopamine, serotonin, prolactin, and others. In your younger years, your brain could quickly replenish these stores, but after 60, recovery takes significantly longer. Think of your neurotransmitter reserves like a bank account. In your 30s and 40s, you had a high income and could afford frequent withdrawals. But after 60, your neurochemical income drops while your spending habits remain the same. Eventually, you end up in deficit, and that's when the problems start. Incorrect masturbation, particularly frequent or overly intense sessions, creates what neuroscientists call dopamine receptor desensitization. Essentially, your brain's reward centers become less responsive, requiring more and more stimulation to achieve the same satisfaction. This isn't just about sexual pleasure, it affects your ability to find joy in anything. I see this pattern constantly. A successful businessman told me, "Doc, I used to love my work, my hobbies, spending time with my wife. Now everything feels gray. I go through the motions, but the satisfaction is gone." When we examined his sexual habits, the picture became clear. Problem compounds because most men, sensing their decreased sexual response, try to compensate with more frequent or more intense masturbation. This creates a vicious cycle. The more you stimulate, the less sensitive you become, requiring even more stimulation to feel anything. Research published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine shows that men who practice frequent, high-intensity masturbation have measurably lower baseline levels of dopamine and serotonin. These are the same neurotransmitters responsible for motivation, mood stability, and general life satisfaction. But there's another factor most people don't consider: the stress hormone cortisol. Aggressive, rushed masturbation triggers the same stress response as any other high-intensity activity. Your body floods with cortisol, which directly suppresses the production of feel-good neurotransmitters. This explains why many men feel depleted rather than satisfied after orgasm. Instead of the natural relaxation and contentment that should follow, they experience what researchers call postorggasmic dysphoria, a sense of emptiness, fatigue, or even mild depression. One patient described it perfectly. "It's like my body is running on empty." The tank feels drained and it takes days to feel normal again. That's exactly what neurochemical depletion feels like. The solution lies in understanding what your nervous system needs at this stage of life: recovery time and gentle stimulation. Just as your muscles need more time to recover between workouts after 60, your neurotransmitter systems need longer intervals between intense experiences. Science shows that spacing orgasms 48 to 72 hours apart allows for complete neurochemical recovery in men over 60. But frequency isn't the only factor, intensity matters just as much. Slow, mindful arousal produces a different neurochemical profile than rushed, aggressive stimulation. When you approach masturbation meditatively, focusing on sensation rather than rushing toward climax, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system instead of your stress response. This produces sustained, gentle releases of feel-good chemicals rather than the dramatic spikes and crashes of aggressive technique. The benefits extend far beyond sexual satisfaction. Men who adopt this approach report improvements in sleep quality, mental clarity, motivation for daily activities, and overall mood stability. They're not just recovering their sexual vitality, they're reclaiming their zest for life. Start with this simple change. Extend your sessions to at least 15 to 20 minutes, focusing on the journey rather than the destination. Use deep, slow breathing throughout the process. This isn't just relaxation technique, it's neuroscience. Controlled breathing activates the vagus nerve, which promotes neurochemical balance and recovery. Many men resist slowing down because they're used to efficiency in other areas of life. But your nervous system doesn't respond to efficiency, it responds to respect for its natural rhythms. If you're experiencing unexplained fatigue, loss of motivation, or that sense that life has lost its color, consider that your sexual habits might be depleting the very neurotransmitters that create enthusiasm for living. But the most dangerous consequence affects the very foundation of your masculine identity, your hormonal balance. And what I'm about to share might explain symptoms you never connected to your private habits. Here's what most doctors miss when treating men over 60: the direct connection between masturbation technique and your body's ability to produce and utilize testosterone effectively. This isn't just about the quantity of testosterone in your bloodstream, it's about how efficiently your body can use what it produces. The relationship between orgasm and testosterone is complex and changes dramatically after 60. In younger men, testosterone levels typically recover within 24 to 48 hours after ejaculation. But after 60, this recovery process can take up to 7 days, and that's assuming optimal conditions. When you add incorrect technique to the mix, the problems multiply. Every time you reach orgasm, several things happen hormonally. First, there's an immediate spike in prolactin, a hormone that directly suppresses testosterone production. Second, your cortisol levels rise, which further inhibits testosterone synthesis. Third, your body depletes zinc and other minerals essential for hormone production. In your younger years, these temporary disruptions were quickly corrected by your body's robust recovery systems. But after 60, your endocrine system operates more slowly and less efficiently. What used to be a brief hormonal dip becomes a prolonged valley. I see the consequences in my practice every day. Men complaining of symptoms that perfectly match low testosterone: decreased muscle mass, increased belly fat, loss of drive and ambition, mood swings, and of course reduced sexual interest. Blood tests often confirm low testosterone, and many doctors immediately suggest hormone replacement therapy. But here's what most physicians don't investigate: how the patient's sexual habits might be contributing to the problem. A study published in the International Journal of Andrology found that men practicing frequent, high-intensity masturbation had significantly lower baseline testosterone levels compared to those who practiced moderation. The mechanism isn't just frequency, it's the type of stress you place on your hormonal system. Rapid, aggressive masturbation creates what endocrinologists call acute stress response. Your body interprets this as a survival situation and floods your system with cortisol while suppressing non-essential functions like testosterone production. One of my patients, a 64-year-old retired engineer, came to me feeling like he'd lost his masculine edge. His testosterone levels were below normal, and he was considering hormone therapy. When we discussed his sexual habits, He admitted to daily masturbation using the same aggressive technique he'd used for decades. We implemented a different approach, longer intervals between orgasms and completely different technique during masturbation. Instead of rushing toward climax, he learned to extend arousal for 15 to 20 minutes using gentle, controlled stimulation. The results were remarkable. Within 6 weeks, his testosterone levels had increased by 40%. More importantly, he reported feeling like himself again, more energy, better mood, renewed interest in activities he'd abandoned. The science behind this improvement is fascinating. Extended, gentle arousal actually stimulates testosterone production rather than depleting it. When you maintain arousal without immediately releasing, your body interprets this as a signal to increase hormone production. Ancient Taoist practices understood this principle thousands of years ago, teaching techniques for cultivating sexual energy rather than depleting it. Modern endocrinology now confirms what these traditions knew. Controlled arousal can actually boost rather than drain masculine vitality. But technique isn't the only factor. The psychological approach matters just as much. When you masturbate from a place of stress, boredom, or compulsion, you activate stress hormones. When you approach it mindfully, as a form of self-care and body awareness, you activate completely different hormonal pathways. Research shows that men who practice mindful masturbation, focusing on sensation, breathing deeply, and extending the experience, have higher testosterone levels and better overall hormonal balance than those who use masturbation primarily for quick stress relief or habit. Here's a practical approach. Limit orgasms to twice per week maximum, but when you do masturbate, make it a 20 to 30-minute mindful experience. Focus on building arousal slowly, breathing deeply throughout, and paying attention to subtle sensations rather than rushing toward climax. Many men discover that this approach actually provides more satisfaction than their previous habits. When your hormonal system is balanced, sexual pleasure intensifies naturally. You're not just having better orgasms, you're optimizing your entire masculine physiology. The breathing component is crucial. Deep, rhythmic breathing during arousal helps maintain optimal cortisol levels while supporting testosterone production. This isn't mystical, it's basic endocrinology. Start implementing these changes gradually. Your hormonal system needs time to recalibrate, but most men notice improvements in energy and mood within the first month. By 3 months, the changes in testosterone levels are typically measurable in blood tests. The goal isn't to eliminate sexual pleasure, it's to align your sexual practices with your body's current needs so that pleasure enhances rather than depletes your masculine vitality. Now let me show you how to put all of this together into a simple, practical approach. The 3 consequences we've discussed, circulation damage, nervous system exhaustion, and hormonal disruption, aren't inevitable parts of aging. They're signals that your body needs a different approach to maintain the masculine vitality you've always had. The solution is simpler than you might think. Slower speed, gentler pressure, longer intervals between orgasms, and mindful attention to the process. Your body knows how to heal and restore itself when you give it the right conditions. Within a month of implementing these changes, you should notice improved circulation, increased energy, and better hormonal balance. This isn't just theory, it's the natural result of working with your body instead of against it. Subscribe to get more practical advice about maintaining masculine health after 60. In my next video, I'll share 3 natural supplements that can dramatically boost testosterone production. Remember, you have more control over your vitality than you might think. Your best years don't have to be behind you.